Hey everybody, it's your boy Meteor Kaiser here, back again with another challenge run, and of course we're going to be jumping into what is, I believe, part 3 of our little Final Fantasy 1 solo run. Today we're going to be tackling the Monk class. Now on the previous one, we did the Red Mage, and that ended up being a little bit easier than expected. Let's hope that the Monk either A, poses us a harder challenge, or B, it's easier. I'm fine with both, honestly. But we'll just have to see what kind of gifts are in store. So again, keeping it very simple, same rules as last time. If you guys have watched the other parts, that's perfect. If you haven't, I'll just briefly go over it. Only class I can use is Monk, and I'm allowing promotions just because we've already established that in the first part, so we're just going to keep rolling down that kind of line of logic. So yeah, without any further ado, let's just jump into it. So we start off with our usual, we open up, we name ourselves Jimothy as always, and we have our 3 Timmies with us. Again, we're keeping the theme. I don't know why I find the name Jimothy so funny. It's not even a name. It's Jim and Timothy together. But anyway, we open up and our first objective is to go to the king. He tells us about Princess Sarah being kidnapped by one of his knights, Garland, in the Chaos Shrine area. But before we can even do that, first actual objective is to destroy the rest of my party, so the white mages are not alive. Next objective is to unequip everyone, including our monk friend here, Jimothy, because the monk, those uninitiated, is a user of unarmed combat for like 99% of this game. The best weapon he's ever going to have is just his fists. So that's going to be a good and a bad thing. Now, unlike the knight class, we don't really have much access to armor. Similar to the red mage, we kind of have that same sort of leather armor options and just less. Like, if there was such a class as a glass cannon, that is 100% a monk. A monk is extremely strong and hits like a truck, but dies very quickly. So it's a defeat them before they defeat you kind of role, even more than any other character that we have in this game. So off the bat, I grabbed myself a couple of levels. The good thing about this character, the monk has a lot of HP growths, so it's not going to be too bad HP-wise, unlike the Red Mage. I do try and take on Garland with just under 60 HP, but my HP total is a little skinny, and I'm only able to survive like 3 or 4 hits, so I get myself up to a point where I have just under 100, and that helps me take out Garland. Garland wasn't too difficult in this one, just, again, I needed a couple of extra levels in order to get through HP-wise at least. Once that's all said and done, we've rescued the princess, she gives us the loot, the king reconstructs the bridge, we do that cutscene thingy-majiggy, we go up to Matoya's cave. There's nothing there for us besides some chests right now, but we'll have to go back after we've gotten her crystal eye. And our next objective is to head to Pravoka. Now, while I'm heading to Pravoka, we're going to be stopped by a few of these random encounters. These ogres, Gygases, and fire lizards are really weirdly difficult, and the packs of wolves that we're coming across are a lot. And that's also going to be another issue with the monk, similar to all of the other physical classes in this game, is there's no AoE, so our best thing is to fight against solo or, max I really want to keep it to is like a group of 3 enemies. If not, I start getting overwhelmed. So we head into Pravoka. We do a little bit of shopping, and we try and take on BK's pirates. The problem with his pirates is, even though individually they're really weak, there's 9 of them. And again, I don't really have options for multi-targeting, so my only option around this is to just get enough levels that my HP total / defense is high enough. And it's pretty sad how far I actually have to get to. I have to get to like level 14 just to be able to take on these pirates, just because they're doing too much damage to me individually. That's the problem with these fights, even the easy ones. But that's also a very cool thing about these runs is a fight like this against the pirates. You would not think, oh, this is an easy ass fight. This is meant for like babies. But like, it's actually the fights that you think wouldn't be hard are harder than the fights that are actually hard, if that makes sense. But anyway, after all of that, stress and being able to get enough levels to defeat the pirates, finally, we grab ourselves BK's ship, and now we have a little ship for us to go to the next location, Elfheim. We do a similar thing. We stop off to see if there's any, at least the thing is we can equip bracelet items, like copper bracelets or things like that. But of course, there's no point in even looking around for any weapons, because I can't use any weapons. So, I can use weapons. I have access to use the weapons. It's just nothing's going to be as good as my fist right now. So at least that means I can kind of save on costs and focus my gil into buying potions and stuff. We make our way to our next destination, Marsh Cave, in which our next boss fight looms in the distance. And you can already kind of predict what's going to happen. The Pisco Demons are a notorious early game run killer and a complete pain in the butt. So as you'd expect, my first attempt does not go very well. My second attempt does not go very well because single targeting, I might be able to kill one in about 1 to 2 turns depending on how lucky I get. However, they're doing, you know, between 50, 60, 70 damage and possibly upwards of 100 on some hits. So I just need to do the same thing I did with BK's Pirates, is just level up enough that my HP and my strength total is enough to knock them out. Also, getting preemptive attacks does help a lot, but man, so many attempts. I basically jumped from having like 150 HP to 300 in order to just deal with these guys. Surprisingly though, our next objective is to head up north into the Western Keep in order to take on Astos, the King of the Dark Elves. Now, Astos has been a notorious pain in the ass for my physical damage users, especially in the first run I did with the Thieves, the run I did as the Warrior. Now, Astos' whole gimmick is he kind of has access to everything. He has Fire, Thunderer, Haste, Slow, and Sleep, and even Death in some situations. Now, the way that I've kind of come to realize how to deal with this guy is you just have to just do this over and over again. It sounds weird, but you just have to keep trying until you get lucky that he'll miss some sleeps. He'll hit you with... Honestly, if he hits me with Slow, that's not that bad. Because even hitting with Slow, I still do a crap ton of damage. And at some point, I'm able to get a nice lucky crit, and that does 300 damage to Astos, and he's dead in 2 hits. So he misses his first death, and voila, I just have to get lucky to be able to strike first, deal big damage, get nice crits, and that is it. The Astos fight was not nearly as bad as it has been. After we defeat Astos, we obtain the Crystal Eye. We're going to take that Crystal Eye, go back to Matoya's Cave, swap that out for the Jolt Tonic, come back to the Prince who's in Elfheim, swap that out for the Mystic Key, and then we're going to honestly ignore a lot of the equipment because a lot of the items that we can get with the Mystic Key are weapons, and they're not really going to be helpful, so I'm just like, why should I even bother? So instead I just beeline it for Cornelia Castle in order to pick up the Nitro Powder. Once we have said Nitro Powder, we're going to take that back to the Dwarf's Cave, which is just to the left of Matoya's area-ish. And we're going to use that powder in order to open up destroy a piece of land that we can basically access to the next area of the map. That next area of the map, of course, being Melmond, another town. But one thing I haven't mentioned on the previous runs is I would recommend stocking up before you reach Melmond, only because Melmond does not have a shop. They have a weapons place and an armor place and all of this stuff, and magic place, but they do not have an item shop. So it's good to stock up before you head over there. After we've reached Melmond and we kind of get our bearings and all of that, we make our way into everyone's favorite, the Terra Cavern. These earth elementals aren't too bad to deal with. The big problem with these guys is just, they're pretty strong. So they're doing a decent amount of damage to me in return for my swings. So that's not necessarily, again, it's not really an issue, I would say. It's just one of those things where you're going to have to be expected to heal a lot as the monk because of just how little defense he has. But by this point, we're around level early 30s, which is about normal, it seems, for this kind of run. Or at least my kind of situation here. But anyway, as we make our way into floor 3 of this beautiful place, we run across our next boss fight, or mini boss, I would say, a vampire. Just a regular old vampire. This was honestly a pretty cool and clench-worthy fight. This vampire fight was a little bit harder. Not too bad. So these guys have like a couple of hundred HP to their name, like 300 HP. So not that difficult, right? However, he has the ability to stun you. That'll paralyze you and stop you from doing anything. The enemy of solo runs is getting paralyzed. So once we get paralyzed, we can't do anything. However, dealing with paralysis against one enemy is a lot better than dealing with 9, because I do believe paralysis stacks. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it does. But when you're dealing with just 1, you have more of a chance of breaking out. And in this situation, we break out of the paralysis, which is great for us, because the fact that we broke out of the paralysis means that we're actually able to clutch this round against the vampire with 7 whole HP remaining. So that is beautiful. And with that defeat, we pick up the Star Ruby, which is sitting in a chest behind the vampire. We're going to need to take that back to the Giant's Cavern, which is just to the northwest of the Terra Cavern area. we're going to swap out that Star Ruby for the giant getting the hell out of the way. And once he's out of the way, we can go into the Sage's Cavern. We're going to talk to the Sage, and he's going to be like, hey, you want to get into the secret part of the Terra Cavern? Here's a rod to do it. So he gives us an Earth Rod, which would be really cool if it was a weapon, but it's not. Anyway, we have that, and we have access to the last 2 floors, in which we go through, we grab more items, just because, at least the thing is with the items here, they're monster chests, right? And that means experience. And we like experience here. We like fighting things just to gain experience, rather than having to forcefully grind separately. At least this is less artificial, you know? Anyway, once we make our way to floor 5, we have our fight with the first fiend, the Fiend of Earth, the Lich. Usually a very consistent run killer for me. You know, I lost a couple of times to this guy, so instead of just running off and grinding, I do what I do best. Now, this guy has a decent chunk of HP. I'm not so sure because the wiki is telling me he only has 400 HP, but that is a lie, 100%. So he's probably got close to 1,000-ish. So the Lich has a few abilities. His most annoying is Slowra, which will stop you from doing anything. Basically, it'll decrease your attack's speed to 1 hit, so it'll decrease your damage momentously. He has access to the elemental spells and a whole nother array of other spells. But again, the most annoying is definitely when he tries to hit you with Sleep or Slowra. However, on one attempt, I just get lucky, I guess. I hit him with like 3 crits in a row, doing 200 to 300 damage a hit. And he hits me back with Thundara, but I have around 400 to 500 HP at this point, and I get lucky. Honestly, that's all I can say is I get pretty lucky in this situation. So we have our first crystal dealt with. Next objective is to grab our boat and swing around the map into the bottom right, into the Crescent Lake area. We're going to head in there. We're going to do a little bit of shopping as always, but there's really literally nothing for us here. No armor, no equipment, just items. We're going to go to the right into the Sage's Circle Jerk area. We're going to talk to the bottom right Sage. He's going to give us a canoe. That's going to give us access to the next 2 locations that we need to go to. First of which being Mount Gulag and the Ice Cavern. You can go to Mount Gulag before or after. It's up to you. I just like going in order for things because I'm weird like that. Anyway, by this point, we are just shy of level 40. So we make our way through. Again, I'm picking up all of these chests, not for the items, literally just for the experience. Like fighting against these lava worms, these fire elementals, all of these guys, these fire lizards, is pretty useful for us for experience. Once that is all said and done, we make our way to the apex. We fight against the next fiend, the Fiend of Fire, Marilith. Marilith is, as per usual, at least so far, not nearly as bad of an issue. Now, her gimmick more is to just spam you with stronger attacks. She does have the ability to blind you, but she's going to be focusing more on using mid-level fire spells and just physical damage. Her physical damage hits for like 200 to 300. It's pretty scary. So I do the same sort of gimmick as I did with the Lich. If I die, I reset and I try again. Now I have around 600 HP by this point, which is a pretty nice amount. I go through this fight, I'm like, oh god, I'm at 100 HP, I'm gonna get screwed over, right? No, I hit back-to-back crits, doing 500 and 400 damage. She's got like probably around 1500 HP. So with those 2 crits, I win. It's great. I'm happy I'm getting lucky. I don't deserve these W's, but I'm taking them, so screw it. But yeah, no, so the boss is dealt with. We have the fire crystal in the bag, and we head over to the ice cave. Oh, I hate this place. So if you guys watch my warrior run, you can probably expect what's going to happen in this one as well. It's the exact same situation as before. This is the patience tester of the run, basically. And for those uninformed, there is an enemy in this area in which you are forced to fight because he's blocking your path, and it's one of those on the map encounters. It is 2 ghasts, 2 wights, 2 wraiths, and 3 specters. These guys are annoying because they all have the ability to paralyze you, and that's what I was mentioning earlier. 9 units that can paralyze you will put me in stun lock, literally. So I just have to keep resetting until I get lucky, and I can either break out of the paralysis, I kill enough of these guys before they do anything to me. Yeah, no, this was a nightmare, and it took me a good 15-20 minutes of just pure, constant, unadulterated resetting. I sure love pain and suffering in my off time, yeah, so fun. But after you know, honestly, I'm looking at my recording footage and I didn't, because I recorded this a little bit ago. Yeah, no, it took me 40 minutes. Yeah, that's crazy. For 2 fights, the hardest fights in the game is this damn encounter. Why was this so bad? But you know that feeling of when you defeat a boss? That's the exact same feeling I felt when I finally defeated these guys. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna have to do this one more time when I do the 5th run. So I'm not looking forward to that. But anyway, so after we've dealt with this guy, we pick up the Levy Stone from the Evil Eye, the Fiend Eye guy, that really easy boss fight that takes 2 seconds to kill. And we're gonna gain access to the ship. So we have an airship now, so the map has opened up. So first thing I'm doing is I'm heading to go get my class changed because I don't want pain anymore. Yeah, so I go into the Citadel of Trials, I defeat the dragon zombies, I get the rat tail, I grab some items, you know, simple stuff. I've literally memorized the path in order to get to the end through the teleporters just because of how many times I've done this now. It's great. It's like muscle memory now. I swear, I should speedrun this game or something. But anyway, after that, we head into the Dragon Caves. We grab some X potions and some elixirs, which are hiding in here, which is great for us. And then I go into one of these, which Bahamut is living in. And Bahamut is going to change our class once we've given him the rat tail. So we are no longer just a simple monk. We are now a master. Very buff boy, you know. After that's all said and done, my next thingy is to go to the Desert Caravan, grab the Pixie, and then we're going to head up to Gaia and release the Pixie. Again, I don't really need to worry about shopping too much because still my best weapons are my fists. Then she's going to give us the Oxale. We're going to take that to Onrak, and we're going to go into the Sunken Shrine. Now, of course, in both Gaia and Onrak, we don't really need to worry about buying anything because, as I said, our best weapons is still our fists. But we're still going to want to pick up some nice items in the Sunken Shrine, which including both the Rosetta Stone and the Giant's Gloves. Very useful items. Giant's Gloves gives you access to the spell Saber, which increases damage and accuracy, which is very, very useful. Not so much the accuracy part, but the damage definitely. And there's some like decent items here. Like there's a diamond armlet, so definitely worth picking up everything from these chests. And I don't think there's like 1 or 2 monster encounters in the chests, so it's not too bad. But anyway, we make our way through towards the end of the Sunken Shrine, and we take on the Kraken. By this point, I am a nice level 60. I'm quite far level-wise as I was compared to previous runs, but that's okay. Anyway, the Kraken is a joke of a fight because of how buff my boy is now. My punches are doing like 900 damage. It's beautiful, and the Kraken doesn't have that much HP. Now, of course, the Kraken hits like a truck as well, but not that bad. The Kraken is simple to deal with, and we have defeated the Fiend of Water to get the Water Crystal. After that's all said and done, we head into the Waterfall Cave. We talk to the robot there, and he's going to give us the Water Cube after we've dealt with another annoying fight. Normally I would ignore this fight, but there are some cockatrices here, so you just have to be careful about getting stoned. It's going to be very short from now, but we're going to get a ribbon soon, and once we have this ribbon, life's going to be easier, because the ribbon is basically, it prevents status ailments, like most status ailments. It's not going to protect you from death, but it'll protect you from poison, paralysis, stoning, all of that stuff. But thankfully we don't get stoned in this fight, and we're able to clutch that. Heading out of the Waterfall Cave, we're going to make our way back to Melmond and change that Rosetta Stone into learning the language of the Lufinians. Once we've learned the language of the Lufinians, we're going to take that to Lufinia, which is in the top right of the map, below where Gaia is. And we're going to grab the chime bell thingy-majiggy. We're going to take that into the middle of the desert, which is just north of Lufinia, into the Mystic Tower. And when we're in said tower, again, there's nothing real here. It's just an area to go through, because the important thing here is actually getting to the end of that area. The Tower of Mirage brings us to the top where we fight against the Blue Dragon, not the anime, and not, I can't think of any other Blue Dragons. I feel like there's a restaurant named Blue Dragon somewhere. There's gotta be. But yeah, this is a very easy fight. It's not meant to be difficult. It's a throwaway fight. One hit and he's dead. And we move into the Flying Fortress. Now, I haven't really gained any levels since then because I wanted to keep my level down from the sunken ship area. And that's also why I do turn off encounters sometimes, because if I don't, I'm just going to get so OP. I'll grind when I need to for certain fights, but if I don't want to grind like crazy. Of course, the only fight I'm going to be grinding for is endgame, but you know, that's besides the point. Here is a lot of items that we want to pick up. Most important of which is definitely the white robe, because it has Invisra. There's also the adamantite here, which we can get, we can leave, it doesn't matter, we're not going to be using the Excalibur sword, or at any time soon. So, there is a sword we will be using, but it's not Excalibur. Anyway, we kind of clear up the items here. We make our way to the end of this 5-floor flying fortress. We take on Tiamat. She is not bad at all. She's kind of just about as difficult as the Kraken fight was, really. A few hits and she's down. She has a lot more versatile attacks, and she does bring me pretty low, but nothing a quick crit can't fix. Her defense is way better than the Kraken's is, though. Like, I'm only doing 400 damage a hit, whereas the Kraken I was doing 700 to 800, depending. But I get pretty low. Jimothy almost has max HP at this point, but he's down to like 150 before I take care of Tiamat. And voila, we've dealt with everything except the Chaos Shrine. So our next objective is to head into the past in order to stop Chaos from wreaking havoc on the world once and for all. But before we can do that, I'm gonna pop over to the Desert Caravan again, pick up a bunch of Protect potions, because those tonics are beautiful and very helpful, especially for the final boss fight. So we're gonna be making our way through the Chaos Shrine, making sure I pick up the elixirs that are scattered throughout the area along the way, and then we're gonna be refighting against all the fiend fights. So first up is the Lich. The Lich has access to a few more spells like Flare, Warp, Hold. Generally is way easier of a fight just because he doesn't try and stun you. And he spends more of his time trying to spam spells at you rather than actually doing any damage to you. So my 1000 damage hits are able to take care of this monster that's like probably, again, these numbers are weird on this wiki page. Because like according to this, I think it's based off the NES version, but he's probably got like a couple of thousand HP. I'm not entirely sure exactly what it is, but like this says 500 and it's definitely not 500. But anyway, I digress. That's, you know, I don't need to go on about that. We make our way to Marilith, the next fiend fight. Very similar situation, pretty easy, takes only a couple of turns, a few punches here and there, and voila, she is donezo. She is using max level fire spells, which is pretty scary, and that's honestly going to be the one thing that's going to be harder, especially against the chaos fight, is our resistance to magic, unlike in the red mage run, is a lot lower. So we're going to have to be more mindful of spells than we were before, because spells aren't really the issue with chaos, it's other things. But we clear through that. We go up against the Kraken fight, and oh my god, did I just lose against the Kraken? Yeah, no, that's, again, with the Kraken, he has nice, very high strength. But again, I pull out the old faithful strategy of just retrying, baby. And I get lucky with him just going for inks after that. The one main thing about the whole unarmed thing is you do a lot more hits. So getting hit by slow will definitely ruin your day. Because basically the more hits you have, the more damage you're going to do, of course. And we're averaging like 16 hits at this point, which is pretty nice. But after a few extra inks that miss, of course, because we have the ribbon on, yeah, the Kraken goes down, and we finally pick up a weapon. We're going to be using the Masamune for the last part, because it gives us like 20 to 30 more points of damage, and it increases our accuracy up. I'm like, why not? Every class can use a Masamune. It's just the perfect endgame weapon. So we're going to be using that against Tiamat on her second repeat. And just like the last fight, she brings us down to 150 HP, but we were able to take care of Tiamat. Of course, my next little thing in here is I'm going to do a little grinding to hit max level, just because this damn 20k chaos fight. But yeah, as usual, this chaos fight took a lot of effort to deal with. I will keep repeating, but if you were here for my last run, you kind of know the strat, which is to protect drink up until you can't protect drink up no more. Because chaos has 20k HP, loves to hit you with spells, max level spells like Tsunami, Cyclone, Flare, sometimes Fire Aga and things like that, which are a little bit lower tier, but they still hurt. And of course, the main damage dealing thing is a 2-hit combo and a 4-hit combo that he uses when he has haste active. The 2-hit does between 200 and 400 damage, and the 4-hit does upwards of 600 to 800 without any protect drinks. So my first objective here is to just spam protect drinks until I can get my defense up as high as humanly possible. And of course, in between times, I'm going to use opportunities to heal up with elixirs, high potions, whatever I need to for the moment. And of course, the biggest issue here is trying to make sure I can get enough defense before he can kill me. It does take a lot of attempts, and yeah, it's a pretty annoying fight, but you basically have to get a good roll for him to just spam you with spells, because spells are strong, but they're not as strong as physical attacks are. Because the max a spell can do would be Flare, and it's doing like 250, right? Way less than these physical attacks that are doing upwards of 600 damage. So I just have to get very, very lucky, being able to hit good X potions and elixirs when I need to, But after a few attempts, I eventually get myself into a good rhythm where I build up enough defense. I also decide to use both Blink and Invis just in case. I don't know how actually useful they are because every time I've tried to use Blink and Invis, I don't dodge anything. I think it's just because you can't stack the spells and Chaos already has very high hit. So I think it's more of a placebo effect than anything. But regardless, I'm just using them anyway because any little bit of help I can have benefits me. So once my defense is up as much as I can get it to, I start spamming Saber through the Giant's Glove. The Giant's Glove is going to boost our attack. That means I'm doing about 2k to 4k damage per hit, which is crazy considering he only has a few hundred attack. And actually on my last attempt, before I was like, let me try and see if I can just do this unarmed. And I think honestly staying unarmed was better for me. So the Masamune was helpful during the Tiamat fight, but during Chaos, I decided, hey, I'm gonna go unarmed. Don't know if I had a rhyme or reason behind that. I just think that the amount of hits I was getting and the amount of damage I was doing as a monk unarmed was actually a little bit more to Chaos than it was with the sword, because again, it was the amount of hits, right? I'm doing 20-30 hits per attack against this guy. Whereas the sword, I'm only doing like 8, and it's only doing 800, 900 damage. So I'm going after damage, not... So it's the first time that the Masamune was useful, but not the best thing for me. But yeah, this was definitely a very interesting run. Very, I guess, because I went into it with the same sort of mindset I had for the warrior, so I kind of knew what to expect. But I would say those are the 3 technically easiest of the classes, because I'm kind of going in order of difficulty-ish. So you guys can kind of predict which of the 3 remaining classes between White Mage, Black Mage, and Feith is going to be left, or is going to be next. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching as always. My name has been Meteor Kaiser, and again, I'll bring this up. You guys have been really helpful and just pushing out my content, and I appreciate a lot of you who have been supporting. I'll just mention the whole, subscribe and make sure you guys are commenting, because that really helps push me through the algorithm. I definitely want to keep doing this, and in order to do this, I definitely need a little bit of help from you guys. And if you guys do support me and you really appreciate it or whatever, I do have a membership plan. I'm not, not going to force anyone to do anything, of course. And that's not going to change anything, but I have a few benefits for you guys. If you guys are interested in that, you can check out my page. There's a link in the description for that. But again, it's just one of those things where I'm like, yeah, let me mention this. Why not? But anyway, I'm going to stop blathering on. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name has been Meteor Kaiser, and I will see you all in the next one. But until then, as always, peace.